You too. Welcome to another episode of my CD collection vid. Before I start, I want to make a few announcements. So as you can tell, this week I released my first mixtape. It's called Nostalgia. Simpler times MC he or she wishes to revisit. I recommend everybody check it out. I'm not just being biased, you know what I'm saying? It's on my channel, and if you like, you can just download it from DatPiff and like stuff like that. So there, yeah, very dope concept. Basically, the concept of the mixtape is basically about how you wish your childhood would come back, and and basically a lot of people's part of the childhood was cartoons. So that's all I'm going to say right now. You got to listen to the whole mixtape. Oh yeah, and a Mobility One, keep your head up. You know what I'm talking about. Other than that, these CDs right here I got from FYE, and I probably hit the jackpot today. So let me put some tunes in. Yeah, about to talk about some serious shit. Deadly Habits. It's Gangstar's Deadly Habits. Let's start with the first CD. First CD I got today is Quincy Jones, Back on the Block, released in 1989 on Quest Records, which is actually his own record label. For those Quincy Jones, everybody in the world should know who he is. Arguably one of the greatest producers in music history. He produced for everyone from Michael Jackson to Frank Sinatra. Who else he produced for? Bill Cosby, and also he produced for mad people too. Like he did a lot of stuff. Like he's basically one of the most successful music producers of all time. And he also made the theme song to Sanford and Son too. In case you guys didn't know that. Yeah. And this was actually his first studio album in 8 years. Because the studio album came out before that was called The Dude, which came out in 1981, which is another dope album. I need to get my hands on that. Yeah, this album is kind of like a perfect blend between hip hop, R&B, and jazz. Because around that time hip hop was getting to its commercial peak, and a lot of people from late 80s started experimenting with jazz, mostly from the native tongues too, you know what I'm saying? And Quincy Jones being the jazz icon that he is, he wanted to make a contemporary move and excuse me, and make probably a perfect blend between hip hop, R&B, and jazz, Singles I was known for are Tomorrow, featuring it's a cover of the Brothers Johnson song, and it's sung by Tevin Campbell. Yes, the same Tevin Campbell. I'm Ready, Tevin Campbell. Tell Me What You Want Me to Do. Very dope singer, very underrated if you ask me. I mean, he's not as underrated as he was in his prime, but compared to today's artists, he's kind of underrated because not a lot of people talk about him. I'll Be Good to You, which is another Brothers Johnson cover, which has Ray Charles and Shaka Khan. Secret Garden, love that song right there. It has I'll Be Sure, James Ingram, El DeBarge, and Barry White. Rest in peace to Barry White, rest in peace to Ray Charles. And I Don't Go For That. This was one of his most critically acclaimed albums to date, because this album actually won about 7 Grammys, including one for Album of the Year. And Quincy Jones, everything Quincy Jones touches, it turns gold. That's all I'm gonna say. And I expect to review on this album though. This is Quincy Jones with Back on the Block, released in 1989. Next album is one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. Another album I couldn't believe I found on FYE. I mean, it's not out of print, but at the same time. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say that Quincy Jones album, I believe in 2003, it was actually remastered. So, yeah. Anyway, this is the Beastie Boys with Paul's Boutique, released in 1989 on Capitol Records. You guys should know who the Beastie Boys are. They're like one of the most influential hip hop groups of all time. You know, they released their first album, License to Ill, and they released it in License to Ill in like 1986. Very good album right there. You know, but then like they were signed on Def Jam, but they actually left Def Jam. It's a long story why they left Jam. I don't even know the whole story, to be honest with you. Yeah, so yeah, they left Def Jam, and around that time, a lot of people kind of calling them one-hit wonders because, you know, "Fight for Your Right to Party" was a very, very big song, like in 1986 and all that. So 1989, they came out with this album, Paul's Boutique. Yeah. Singles I was known for are no checkers, Hey Ladies, Shadrach and Shake Your Rump. This is a hip hop classic. One of the most influential hip hop albums of all time. And this was like a very good album. Like, for one, the production played a huge part in like its influence because of the fact that the Dust Brothers were really like Dust Brothers really did their thing on this album. Plus, even the Beastie Boys used a few tracks on it too. And because this came out around the same time as De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising, and both those albums kind of took hip hop to different places. Cause like De La Soul was more about like had like more of like a different alternative sound, as with this album too. Yeah, and you know, Beastie Boys, you know, rest in peace to MCA. It's still a shock that he died of cancer, you know. Other than that, classic album. This album was actually remastered in 2009, along with, I believe, like the first 5 albums were remastered that year. So yeah, and expect a review on this album too. Next album is KRS-One's self-titled second album, released in 1995 on Jive Records. KRS-One, one of the greatest MCs of all time. He was a member of Boogie Down Productions, and they broke up when 1992. He dropped his first studio album, Return of the Boom Bap, in 1993, and which is a classic album. And around this time, 1994 and 1995, he came out with this album too, KRS-One. Oh yes, this was one of the greatest. Probably a lot of people have said this is his best album. I don't know, man. Return to the Boom Bap. I kind of like Return to the Boom Bap a little bit more because of the fact he was like going crazy with the album, like the production, his delivery, wordplay. Like that album is like every time I think of Boom Bap, I think about that album and this album too. Singles I was known for, it came out with 2 singles. Rappers Are in Danger and MC Act Like They Don't Know. Which was like those songs, like a lot of rappers have freestyled over those songs too and shit like that. So a little trivia about this album. This album was actually supposed to be called Hip Hop versus Rap. But he just changed it, and he took like a lot of tracks off the album for some reason, you know. And And you know, KRS-One around that time, he actually, I think he discovered this group called Channel Live, and they put out this album called Station Identification, which is an album I need to get my hands on, but I believe that's actually out of print. And if you're a fan of that album, you'll love this album right here. Like, this is a very cool album to listen to. Like it has like a kind of like, this album embodies New York in 1995, you know, mid-90s, like it embodies New York, like beat, everything, the whole atmosphere of this album. KRS-One self-titled. Alright, and if you guys are hearing in the background, it's Jay-Z and Memphis Bleek Coming of Age. Jay-Z's first album, Reasonable Doubt. And classic album. I need to do a review on that album one day. Next album. This is probably like, I was so happy when I found this album, but then I got dissatisfied. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. This is 8 Ball MJG, On Top of the World. For those of you who don't know what 8 Ball MJG are, they're a group from, I believe they're from, where are they from? If I'm not mistaken, I think they're from, I think they're from Houston, if I'm not mistaken. And they dropped their first album, their first studio album, and well, the first studio coming out hard in 1993. And that album was like a landmark in the South, you know what I'm saying? And like that album, although like some of the production was a little bit like low budget compared to like today's standards, like it was still like a dope album. Then in 1994 they dropped what was that one album? Hold on, I gotta look back. I'm mistaken. They dropped that April. Oh, On the Outside Looking In. And yeah, they're actually from Memphis. Excuse me. Yeah, 8 Ball MJG are from Memphis. And 1994 they dropped On the Outside Looking In, which was another dope album right there. I need to get my hands on that album though. And 1995 they dropped On Top of the World, which was this album right here. One thing about the South though, that album covers were like it was like, I don't know what to say about them album covers. Like those No Limit album covers, it's like cheesy, but at the same time it's dope at the same time. Singles I was known for are, it came out with like 2 singles. First single was, what was the first single? Break 'Em Off, and the other single was Space Age Pimpin'. That song, Space Age Pimpin', was one of, when I first heard that song, it was just unbelievably, it just tasted like another planet, like the wordplay, the flow. But that's what made me that's the song that actually made me get into 8 Ball MJG, cause that song Space Age Pimpin'. And one thing I love about this is a Southern hip hop classic, you know, cause like a lot of cats don't fuck with 8 Ball, they don't like 8 Ball MJG for some reason. To me, I only like their first 4 albums that they've done together, like, which was coming out hard, On the Outside Looking In, this album, and In Our Lifetime Volume 1. Everything after In Our Lifetime Volume 1 was kinda like, I don't know, it was just, although like many people have said that Space Age Forever was the best album, I've not really heard that album, but everything like they dropped in the 2000s, like when they sang with Bad Boy, it was like, nah. And you can hear like Big Crit influence with A-Bar MJG, especially like in his voice, you know. By the way, when I said that I was happy when I found this album, but I got dissatisfied, this is actually the 2009 remastered edition. But one thing I hate about this is I was listening to this album like a couple days ago, like 2 days ago, and it was the chopped and screwed version, and I was like, what the and that's another thing too. I fucking cannot stand chopped and screwed albums. But at the same time, this album, it's chopped and screwed, but it's not bad chopped and screwed. It's still listenable. Like, I don't know, when they chop and screw certain albums, like, when they chopped and screwed The Diary, I was like, what? No, you can't chop and screw that album, though. Other than that, I'm still gonna keep the album, you know, because this album was very hard to come by. This album was actually very hard to come by, and if you see like online, it might cost you like arm and penny. So yeah, I actually got this album for like $13. So fuck yeah, I want to keep this shit, even if it's chopped and screwed. That's how much I love 8-Ball MJG. 8-Ball MJG on Top of the World, 1995. Next album is Common's second album, Resurrection, released in 1994. Common, you guys know who he is. I actually talked about his Like Water for Chocolate album. I talked about the Dreamer and the Believer album he came out with too. His second album, his first album, released in 1992, Can I Borrow $1? Which is an album that it was okay, but he really didn't find his style yet. This is the album he found his style. This album was released on Relativity. Oh yeah, on top of the World was actually released on Suave House Records. This album was actually released on Relativity Records. Singles I was known for are Resurrection, which check out the Large Professor remix. And that remix, Large Professor, he did his thing on that remix. And arguably one of the top hip hop songs of all time, I Used to Love Her, which a song that has been critically praised, and it actually got him in trouble with Ice Cube. You know, if you want to hear about that story, wait till the review of this album, which is coming soon. This is a hip hop classic right here. Like, this album is very like mellow, it's smooth, but at the same time he's dropping knowledge too. No ID. No ID. He did his thing on the beats though. That's another thing. I love the fact that No ID. He's actually getting more recognition these days though. Like a lot of cats have been asked him to produce a lot of their stuff, and I'm glad that he's actually getting more recognition too. And this is when he stepped his writing game up. Oh, some trivia about this album. They actually reissued this album, I think 2 years after this album was released, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you have the original copy of this album, it says Common Sense Resurrection. But I believe like some reggae band actually sued Common for their name, and they said that that's why his name changed from Common Sense to Common, as we know today. So that's why in this album you have just plain Common, since this is the reissued version. Other than that, this is a very dope album. Like, I'm gonna definitely do a review on this soon. Like, I just love, like, this is when Common was really getting up there. Although, like, my favorite Common album, wait till the next album. I'm wait till the next album. But this is definitely my top 3 Common albums, though. This is Common, Resurrection, 1994, Relativity Records, must have. And now my favorite Common album. This might come to a surprise, but this is Common B, released in 2005 on Good Music under Geffen Records. This is Common's best album. I don't care what nobody says. You know, Common, because you know in 1997, he dropped on One Day It'll All Make Sense, which is another dope album, a very underrated album, if you ask me. And that album, he didn't really get the credit he deserved. And Like Water for Chocolate. Then 2002, he dropped Electric Circus, which was, I actually, to be honest, I liked the album, but it was at the same time it was very, some songs it was very, you could tell like he was like going for like a more neo soul mixed in with like psychedelic vibe on the album. To be honest, I actually liked Electric Circus, you know, because it was a very different album. It was like Common meets Prince album, you know what I'm saying? And so it took him 3 years. It took him 3 years that he came out with the next album. 3 years he came out with the next album. It's Have My Year Beef. Singles albums known for are The Food, featuring Kanye West, but the original studio version is not on this album for some strange reason. It's actually the live version, I believe, when they did Dave Chappelle's Block Party. Yes, I missed Chappelle's show. The Dave Chappelle Block Party. That's when that performance was on this album. Go, featuring John Legend and what's that name? John Mayer. The Corner, Testify. I love the video to that song, and Faithful. This is one of my favorite hip hop albums of the last decade. Like, it just, every time I hear this album, it like makes me all, it makes me all warm inside, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a beautiful album. And like, this time stuff like Kanye and like Jay Dilla, rest in peace to Jay Dilla, best beats. And back in 2005, like, you couldn't really go anywhere without hearing someone bumping this album. And I remember back in like that year, I heard that song on Testify like a lot of times on the radio around that time. So yeah, in my opinion, this is really his best album to date. A lot of people say Resurrection. A lot of people say Like Water for Chocolate. To me, it's this album. This is Common B 2005. Next album is Prince and the Revolution 1999. Released in 1982. I've mentioned Prince many times before on this channel. Definitely one of my favorite artists of all time. He has like laid the groundwork for a lot of like today's artists, you know what I'm saying? And this is the album, in my opinion. Let me put it to you this way: if Dirty Mind was the album that got people Prince's attention, this is the album that got the mainstream attention of Prince. Like, singles albums known for ours. This was released on Warner Brothers, by the way. 1999. Everybody knows that song. That video, I still remember the video where he's wearing that like purple robe. Little Red Corvette. DMSR. Delirious. Automatic. And Let's Pretend We're Married. Like, this is a very, like, you listen to this album, it will take you all the way to like 1982. Like, this, I believe this was released months before, a couple months before Thriller, and both of those albums, like, with Michael Jackson and Prince, what they did like 82 and 83, that was they like paved the way for like, they like bridged the gap between like the MTV generation and like the ordinary like R&B soul audience too. So yeah, this is Prince 1999, and this is one of my classics. This is a classic album though, very good album right here. Next album is Prince and the New Power Generation with Diamonds and Pearls, released in 1991. I did a review on it like last, I think it was it was like about 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks ago I did a review on this album. Yeah, so I'm not gonna talk too much about this album. This is singles, Diamonds and Pearls, Get Away, Cream, Money Don't Matter Tonight, Insatiable. Yeah, I say it was a good album, but at the same time it was like more of New Jack Swing. I'm trying to go to that New Jack Swing audience. So, oh yeah, by the way, I love the cover, by the way, the holographic cover. So this is Prince, Diamonds and Pearls, 1991. Check out my review on the album. And the last album I have is Prince, Come, released in 1994 on Warner Brothers. This was a very like controversial kind of album. And I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Like, singles album is known for are Come, which is like an 11 minute funky kind of song. Let It Go. What the fuck? Yeah, Let It Go. And excuse me, I'm gonna find a song. My shit just went off for no fucking reason. Yeah, Let It Go and Space. Like I said, this was a controversial album. Like, if you look closely to the album cover, you'll see like his birthday 1958 to 1993. And I believe like 1993 was the year that he was having problems with Warner Brothers, because like, I don't really the whole story after really look up like if I do a review on this, I'm gonna have to look up exactly. I think because Warner Brothers were trying to like clean up his image and all that, and Prince, he like to does things the way he does his things, And once I do a review on Come, I'm gonna definitely get more in depth with that. But other than that, this is like the last album where he would use his name, Prince, because like once he released like the Gold Experience, he actually had that famous symbol, and you guys have seen this symbol before on the Love Symbol album. Where I think it's like the female sex symbol mixing with the male sex symbol, some shit like that. And he went by that symbol for like the next 7 to 8 years, and he has been called the artist formerly known as Prince by a lot of fans though. So when he went by the artist formerly known as Prince, he was technically, he was still under his contract with Warner Brothers, but at the same time, he was more independent around that time. Because like with albums like the Gold Experience, I think it was the Gold Experience. I think Chaos and Disorder too. And this album, I think he was still on his contract, so he had to like rush to put this album out to get out of Warner Brothers. And yeah, and so with that album, so basically he had to rush to put this album out, and that's when in 1996 he came with the Instant Emancipation. But I'm getting way off topic, And so I'm gonna get back on this album before. So this is Prince Come. This is a very weird album, because it has like a lot of like, it's a dark album, that has like a lot of like New Jack swing, mixed in with some spoken word, mixed in with smooth soul. And excuse me for 1 minute. I have to. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, like it's a weird album, but you know Prince is a weird artist too, so I can't expect it from him. Other than that, like, yeah, cause like I mentioned this before, like 1991 to 1996. That's when I feel like Prince put out some of his most underrated works ever. Love Simba album, Diamonds and Pearls, you know. Yeah, I kind of feel like those albums don't really get the much credit they deserve. But this is like probably my second least favorite from that period. Although it does have some dope cuts, at the same time it's not like one of my favorite Prince albums, but at the same time it's still, I still would recommend it, you know. And this is Prince Come. I kind of like, I was actually shocked when he actually went back to Warner Brothers last year though, but we're still. By the way, check out his album, The Artificial Age, which is another dope album, a very dope album. You know, he kind of went back to his '80s style with that. Other than that, that's all the time I have. Stay tuned for more reviews and CD collection vids. Peace.